Just covered my fair share of hurricanes, school shootings, church shootings, horrific tragedies, accidents.
That's Megan Alexander. She is a correspondent for the TV news magazine Inside Edition. She says that covering tragic stories is really hard for her.
I text my pastor. I text, my spiritual advisors in my life, and I say, help me. I'm wrestling with this. I need some.
One you'll hear talking about the media. You're also going to hear from Billy Graham on the subject.
It boggles our minds to think of the power those who produce and control television programs have. We have the message. We have the instrument. I pray to God we have the commitment.
For decades, Billy Graham used broadcast media to share the message of Jesus Christ. You can use the digital media to learn more about Jesus and the unshakable hope he's offering to you right now. Just go to this website, findpeacewithgod.net. That's findpeacewithgod.net.
God, people, stories.
I would not say that the Christian community was overly supportive, just because I think the media world is very unknown to a lot of people.
Megan Alexander is talking about her decision as a young Christian woman to pursue a career in entertainment.
And so it was really, I don't want to say lonely, because I certainly felt the support of family and friends, but I will say there weren't a whole lot of opportunities within the faith community to do this type of work. So a lot of times I kind of felt like I was venturing off on my own.
It was in high school, a Christian high school in Seattle, when Megan set her heart and mind on a career in media. It was also in high school when Megan made an even more important decision about her life.
I would say I claimed my faith for myself in junior high. That was the time when you really decide, okay, is this just something my parents want me to do, or do I really believe this? And that's when you start making important decisions too. And so I really claimed it for myself in junior high.
And I know I can't say the same. I see you making a way. Oh, won't you pull me closer than ever before?
Megan's parents thought she might outgrow her interest in entertainment and pursue something, as she puts it, more reasonable. She didn't.
So it was me just deciding, no, this is really what I want to do. I felt that God had planted the seed in my heart. And so I, early on in high school, just tried to get involved in activities, whether it was making a little radio show, being in the school play, anything I could do to kind of be in that world while still, doing sports teams. And I had a very regular childhood, doing other stuff too.
From high school, Megan went to a Christian college in Santa Barbara, California. It didn't have a broadcast journalism major, so she majored in political science and did a lot of internships.
I interned in Washington, D.C. for a senator and was always very intrigued with how they handled the media. I did a couple days at the BBC in Washington, D.C. and just loved it. Went back to Santa Barbara in college, and I had a small little radio show on our college radio station. I interned for a country station and the local television station. And then my first paying gig was I was the overnight DJ from midnight to 6 a.m. at a classical radio station in Santa Barbara. And I got that first gig the summer after my senior year in college. So, not super glamorous, but at the same time, it's the same equipment, and it was a foot in the door.
Right after she graduated from college, Megan took a radio job in Nashville. That led to work on a local TV station, which then helped open the door for a TV reporting job in San Antonio. While she was there, she heard that Inside Edition in New York City was looking for some new reporters, so she talked about it with her agent.
And my agent said, "You're not their type. You don't stand a chance." And I said, "Let's send my tape anyways. Maybe we'll get some feedback." And so we sent my tape, and 24 hours later, the EP of Inside Edition called my agent and said, "I want to fly her to New York." And I flew to New York, and the moral of the story there is don't ever give up on your dreams. And when other people discourage you, remember, send the tape anyway, send the resume anyways, email that person anyways, because you never know. And I hit it off with my boss, and I've been with the show now for 10 years.
When that job offer with Inside Edition was first extended to Megan, though, she and her husband weren't sure if they should take it. They didn't know if they really wanted to leave Texas.
We were happy in Texas. We were comfortable. It was a great place to live. And I distinctly remember when I got the offer to move to New York, my husband and I, we're both from Seattle, when we were engaged at the time and thinking that we would settle down in Texas. And I remember us praying the prayer, Lord, we don't know what to do. This is an amazing opportunity. Slam the door shut if it's not supposed to happen. And that has been a prayer that I have continued to pray all throughout my career with opportunities. Please slam the door shut. And instead, he blasted it open. And we said, okay, here we go, New York. So it was a prayer to him of, okay, Lord, close the door. Otherwise, we're going to keep going and we trust you. And
weren't overly excited about her taking the job with Inside Edition.
I mean, when they heard Inside Edition, they thought flashy, fast-paced, tabloid, entertainment news magazine show, New York City, national television. They thought, it's going to be a little bit Hollywood in terms of, you never know what you're stepping into. And so I think that was another reason that we needed to pray that prayer is, a lot of people said, gosh, are you sure this is what you should do? Do you think you'll be able to maintain your faith?
Not only has Megan been able to maintain her faith, she also takes opportunity to share her faith. One of her role models is the biblical figure Daniel. He was an Israelite who earned the respect of his Babylonian captors.
Daniel was there gaining the favor of the king in the high courts in Babylon. And I think of that, in a way as Hollywood and media, very influential. And I look to him and he was able to maintain his faith and yet flourish and thrive in that situation. So I look to those people. I try to build relationships and just get to know people where they are. I want them to know me as a good colleague, a hard worker, somebody that'll deliver on deadline. And then inevitably, when you work with people and spend long hours together, that's when you get opportunities to comfort people through personal situations, marriages, divorces, births, tragedies. That's real life stuff. And that's when I've been able to, share my faith and hopefully comfort people through my faith in those times.
It's not just behind the camera that Megan lives out her faith. In front of the camera, she works to glorify God through the stories she reports.
I mean, I've covered my fair share of hurricanes, school shootings, church shootings, horrific tragedies, accidents.